Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. We're at Forkfest 2019, and you are invited to join us here in real life at Rogers Campground on what is a beautiful day. The sun has been out. It is warmer, I would say significantly warmer, like probably at least 10 degrees warmer today. And Vincent, you've actually been up much longer than I have.
Oh, yeah, man.
You woke up at, what, 5 this morning or something
5:30
like
this morning, and it was the birds woke me up. It was bright. It was, like, totally light out. I get up, and I said, okay, man, I got to use the restroom right now. So I run and get it anyways. I got to do my business, come back. And I just decided to walk around the camp, see who's around, and literally it was a
Nobody.
ghost. Yeah, no, I'm the only one up and about. So
now even when just by the way, right now the campground's pretty empty in general, but even when this campground is, like, pretty busy, there's nobody up at 5 a.m., with exception of, like, one guy who's tripping and enjoying the sunrise or something like that.
Yeah, statistically, oddly, I didn't bump into that guy, but it was, I have a lot now. I understand my father. All the time he would give me grief for sleeping in until noon, like, because I walked up to, like, the motel and I wanted to go, like, if anyone's seen Full Metal Jacket, right? I just want to get a trash can and a pipe and reveille, everyone wake up! It's Forkfest, right? Time to have fun.
That's not how you make friends.
No, which is why I didn't do it. And also, I can't say the other quote on the air, but
okay, thank you.
No, but I gotta say, just finish up on this. It is amazing all that you could get done by waking up before noon. It's like you have most of the day available to you. It was awesome. I set a bunch of stuff on fire. It was great.
Yeah, I'm so much more productive when I can actually wake up before noon, and I've been doing a pretty good job at it in in recent days. In fact, today not
today.
No,
okay.
I was up at like 10ish. I just had to do some stuff on the laptop because if I have stuff to do and I'm out here, it's impossible to do it because, there's constantly like people who want to chat, and that's cool. That's why we're here. We're here to actually hang out with people, not be engaged in a device, the entire time as people tend to do in society these days. And here, like, for an example, yesterday I have on my phone, I've got the Telegram app. Which, it's a great app, right? Like for chatting with people, group chats, person-to-person chats. It's a really simple app, and it's very powerful. It works very well. We use it for the cryptocurrency groups here in New Hampshire, activist chats and things like that. And, normally Telegram's active. Like there's things going on there. And I'm pretty good about checking Telegram multiple times throughout the day. But yesterday, I literally didn't have a chance to check Telegram. I didn't make time. I would have had to have made time to do it. I didn't do it until, like, we were done eating at the restaurant that we all went to after doing the show yesterday. So I had probably a dozen chats that had things I hadn't read yet. And my typical day, I don't ever have that happen. But here, you're just so busy doing things with other people on the campground. It's just you don't have time for all the electronic stuff. And I think that's a good thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Ultimately. And so that's what we're doing here. It's an ability, a chance to actually connect with other liberty-minded people. That's pretty much who you're going to run into here at the campground if you're here at Rogers Campground. And by the way, it's not too late for you to come out here. This event is just getting started. We're just on day number 2. Day 1 is kind of like, even though it's officially the start of it, it's always the slowest day, right? Like it's Thursday. That's the end of the week, but not for most people because most people got to work, right? So they're working through Friday. So that's why we're going to see probably people kind of trickling in throughout the day today. And then later on tonight, you might see a few more folks after they're getting off of work, maybe the people that live in New Hampshire, with even more people coming on Saturday. And then, of course, the event will likely peak on Sunday and Monday, Monday being the final day with a major event, the Big Gay Dance Party. They're working on the dome right now. Derek and Stephen are here from anypay.global, and they got here yesterday evening. And Stephen, who is he's like an Eagle Scout, like literally he's an Eagle Scout. He wanted to just start putting the dome together in the middle of at nighttime. I'm like, I don't think I would want to put anything together at nighttime. But man, they gave it their best shot last night. Me and Matt Roach and Rich Paul went down there, and a bunch of people were lending a hand. This is a massive project, and if you've never done it before, it's even more complicated, right? Because once you put something like that together, by the way, it's like a 30-foot diameter. So this thing literally takes up maybe 2 campsites or at least an entire campsite.
It has like an entire skeleton of PVC piping and everything. It's very, very impressive. And, I don't want to quote them, but I went there, I'm just sort of recording, documenting this Forkfest 2019. They say it's very important that you have your crypto wallet if you even want to get in, right? You have to
yeah, I heard they're going to be enforcing that you have to have like a Bitcoin Cash wallet.
Exactly. Yep, they said Bitcoin Cash or you can't even get in.
I wonder if Roger Ver knows that from Bitcoin.com, because he would absolutely love that if he found that out. Now, just because you have a cryptocurrency wallet on Roger's Campground doesn't necessarily you're going to be able to use it effectively unless you have internet access, because that is one of the, if there's a downside to cryptocurrency, and we love cryptocurrency here on Free Talk Live. We use it all the time. In fact, I just sold one of our listeners a couple of two-way radios, Joe from Florida. He came up here. He's one of the Dash guys. I sold him a couple handheld two-ways for $80 worth of Dash. So there's a lot of crypto use on the campground. But if you don't have a cell phone signal here and you don't have Wi-Fi access, you are SOL. You don't have internet connection. And that means that you need to find some Wi-Fi or get somebody to put up a hotspot.
I actually, with this, my data, I've been able to, like the article I have prepared for today.
Yep.
All I did is just have to type it in, pull it up on the data.
Well, you've got signal. That's what I'm saying. There's some cell phones up here that they're not even going to have a signal. Now, over time, that's gotten better. I've been coming to this campground for a decade, and over time, the cell phone connectivity here has improved quite a bit. The campground Wi-Fi hasn't really improved much at all. So, like, if you pay for the campground Wi-Fi right now, you might actually get some use out of it. But as soon as the campground starts to get full with libertarians who love the internet, it just bogs down the Wi-Fi.
I just think it's so amazing that if you went back to whenever Wi-Fi was first, I guess, commercially widely available, and say to them, hey, did you know this is going to be available on a campsite? They wouldn't have believed you. I just find it amazing. I haven't been, mostly when I when I've been camping, I've been younger. It's been on family, properties or
like kind of roughing it. You mean?
Oh yeah, exactly, roughing it. Yeah, like this is a vacation for me.
This is a vacation campground. This is absolutely not roughing it. There's nothing rough about this, unless you consider, living in or sleeping in a tent. Generally roughing, and there are some people
called flatlanders. But I mean, my thing is like, if I could walk to a liquor store or a gas station, it ain't roughing it. If it's within my walking distance.
Yeah, and it's not that far to town here. I mean, it's only 2 miles. By the way, we're in Lancaster, New Hampshire. We're at Rogers Campground. Absolutely beautiful location, and that is where we're at for Forkfest, which you can go to forkfest.party to learn more. Like, on my list of things to do for today is to actually update the Forkfest website with like a welcome to Forkfest message instead of like Forkfest is coming, and hopefully I'll have a chance to do that later. But I didn't want to spend too much time doing computer stuff before we start doing the show here. But yeah, walking to town isn't a huge task. It's a bit of a hike, and I mean, if you like to walk, you can do it. If you would like a ride, all you really have to do is just ask somebody. I mean, most of the people around here are super friendly. Even if you don't know them, that's how you'll make a friend, right? Like, you can, I was mentioning Telegram earlier. There's a Telegram chat room for Forkfest, which you can access at forkfest.party. And there's people in there. Like, last night, a dude showed up at like 11 o'clock at night, and he puts out a message saying he just arrived and asked if people want cookies. Now, I didn't ask what kind of cookies they were, but, people sort of like putting it out there what they're doing. And in the same way, if somebody needs a ride somewhere, they can say, hey, I don't have a car, and I'd like to get a ride into town, and somebody might just do it for free. Somebody else might say, hey, can you cover some gas or whatever, and you'll get it done, because this is the kind of group of people here that is interested in helping others and helping people accomplish whatever goal it is they have, which is what I was saying, like with the AnyPay tent, right, or the dome that they have, a geodesic dome made up of PVC, and I'm not sure what they're going to put over top of it, but I didn't look at all the instructions last night when we were helping them out. But people they help out. Even if they don't know who the people are, they're going to likely help out, which is a cool thing. So you can't join us on the radio like by calling in, because we're not live. We're recording the show. It's actually just after noon Eastern time as we're starting this episode. And the nice thing about that is we can just sort of record as we want and bring people in and talk to them if we feel like it. Otherwise, we're going to talk about some cryptocurrency-related stuff. For whatever reason, I'm on a crypto kick here. Of course, Bitcoin's up, by the way, in price today, which is a good thing. More coming up. This is Free Talk Live from Forkfest 2019. It's Free Talk Live, and you can join us here for what is a beautiful sunny day at Rogers Campground. You know, the clouds are passing by the sun every now and then. It's a little cool, nice cool breeze. I would say, mid to upper 60s today. It's very, very nice. Beautiful day to be in northern New Hampshire. We're not quite to summertime yet, and so it's getting, it's still a little chilly at night. In fact, I suspect it's chilly at night every day during the summer up here, maybe with the exception of a few weeks, because we are in the northern portion of New Hampshire. We're nestled in the White Mountains here. And Vincent, this is your kind of country, man. This is you're excited about this, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I'm right at home here.
Now, you were saying that you're feeling good about being here. You were here for day number 1, which puts you in a category of, the elite at Forkfest.
Well, I would say that. I just say I don't want to be part of any so-called elite.
There's an initiation later.
Oh, God.
So,
okay, I brought some condoms, so that's good.
No, it's not that kind, dude.
But Vanguard, I think that's what we like to call it.
The Vanguard. No,
I've seen Eyes Wide Shut, and I know what you're talking about.
I actually haven't seen that movie. It looks really creepy.
It's what got Kubrick killed. So
you think so?
Oh yeah, you have a whole moon landing thing. Yeah, The Shining was his apology for staging that whole thing.
I heard that. I saw that conspiracy theory. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean it's a conspiracy. It ain't a theory. It's like you can't. Zero gravity. You have a flag waving. Yeah, give me a break.
So, what are your impressions, Vincent, after having spent day number 1? You've never been to this campsite before. This is your first year, period, going to any kind of libertarian camping festival.
First time at Rogers, period.
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Oh, it's a very, very wonderful place he's got here. I mean, I didn't think this is the kind of stuff that you'd think or that you'd see about in the 60s or the 50s or something idyllic, just a campground. You could just go and enjoy yourself a vacation. I didn't think places like this existed. I figured that they'd all be taken over by the, state government, just totally boring corporate gray national park system. But
there are actually government-run campgrounds in New Hampshire, and the Porcupine Freedom Festival, when we first moved here, it was 2006 when Free Talk Live moved up here, so it was like at the end of summer. It was Labor Day weekend, so we didn't go to Porkfest that year. The next year we did go, so we actually moved before going to these festivals. Many people go to the festivals first and then come up here, so we went in 2007, and 2007 they actually, believe it or not, they held the Porcupine Freedom Festival on a government-run campground.
Naturally.
I mean, it seems a little contradictory to do that. The campground was located in the Lakes region, and it was an okay campground, but it was nowhere near as picturesque, nowhere near as beautiful as Rogers Campground, which is where we are now, and that's where this event. Actually, it's where the Porcupine Freedom Festival, which for listeners that are new to the show, that's where Forkfest kind of sprang from. That's where Forkfest forked off of, and so there's now 2 different festivals, one that follows the other. So the Porcupine Freedom Festival this year is going to be following Forkfest. Next year, we're going to reverse that, and we're going to have Forkfest follow the Porcupine Freedom Festival. But the Porcupine Freedom Festival actually started here at Rogers Campground way back when it was like the Porcupine Freedom Festival 0, which was named something else. I forget what that was called at that time, but there's somebody that wrote a history of it way back when, and then they renamed it to the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and I think it's in its 16th year this year. I'm sure we're going to see Roger Paxton within the next day or two, and I think he might be coming up tomorrow. He's been here for every Forkfest, and he's the current organizer of the Porcupine Freedom Festival. So we'll hear more about what's going on at the Porcupine Freedom Festival this year. But we're here for Forkfest, and of course, it is a good time. So you said you enjoyed day number 1, even though it was pretty uneventful, mostly us huddling under a tent. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't have enjoyed what we did yesterday because it was 56 degrees, it was rainy, it was cold, the wind was blowing. It was a tough show to do.
Well, once the rain and everything was over in the evening,
That's
it was
true.
Totally clear. I just started a
warmed
bonfire.
Up. It actually was colder in the evening, but it felt warmer because it wasn't rainy and windy.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And you're talking about the evenings being cold. It's just there's a lot of humidity in the air, which is bad. For
right.
me, it's just breathing. But even inside the tent. But if you have a sleeping bag and you just cover, sort of make your a cocoon in it, your breath and just the body heat you radiate off of it, pretty much will keep you warm and good. So you just got to be smart about it if you're going to be in a tent.
And by the way, I do want to say thank you to the folks over at Bitcoin.com for sponsoring Free Talk Live. They just And by the way, I should interrupt myself. Roger Ver has come to this campground, the founder of Bitcoin.com. He has spent time on this very campground, and it's part of the reason why these events are so cryptocurrency heavy. This is kind of where Bitcoin got its feet wet in real life, people using it to buy things in real life. If you want to buy stuff with Bitcoin Cash, you can go to Bitcoin.com, and that is where you can learn more about Bitcoin Cash. In fact, if you want to buy Bitcoin Cash, or maybe you got something you want to sell, you can do that through their new website, local.bitcoin.com. I actually used it yesterday to purchase some Bitcoin Cash on the site from somebody who is in Australia. He has a bank account on, it's not Venmo, it's the other one, Zelly. Yeah, Zelly's like a bank-to-bank kind of transfer thing.
I don't trust his bank, so I wouldn't know, Ian. Don't ask me.
I don't blame you for it. It's risky doing transfers like this, but I actually knew the guy from an old cryptocurrency meetup a long time ago, or not meetup, but a convention. And anyway, he sold me some of his some Bitcoin Cash, and we did it via an online payment method. Local.bitcoin.com accepts dozens of payment methods that allows people to buy and sell Bitcoin Cash. The conversations you have are encrypted, so when you're buying and selling, nobody else, even from the website, the administrators cannot read the conversation you're having, so you have privacy. And it's a non-custodial service, meaning that the site doesn't actually hold your Bitcoin Cash. So if you're selling Bitcoin Cash on there and you load up the wallet, it's your wallet you're loading, and then you're using what they call a smart contract to actually conduct the sales. So the site, even though they're collecting a percentage, they only get that once the contract completes. If your person you're buying or selling from cancels the deal or something goes wrong, you get your Bitcoin Cash back. So it's a very, very nice site with lots of privacy, and there's no know your customer requirements in order to sign up for the site. It's pretty cool. I've been using it for the last week since it's been open. It's brand new. Go to local.bitcoin.com to give that a try. That's local.bitcoin.com. In fact, we're going to get into some cryptocurrency-related news. The Facebook crypto has been announced, and we briefly talked about this a little while back. I don't know, Vincent, have you followed anything with this Facebook so-called, I'm going to put crypto in quotes, crypto. Do you know anything about it?
I've heard that they're making one, and it's just from I follow ccn.com articles would appear on my phone. So it's only been headlines. I'm not on QA and stuff. I'm not really.
QA is your show, questioning authority.
Thank you. Yes, on LRN.FM. I'm not too heavy into the crypto stuff because I imagine on the network it's been done to death. But I mean, when I heard of it. I didn't trust it at all, but I did. I just anything regarding Facebook, and the whole point of crypto is supposed to be privacy, right? Yeah. And really, the person who killed privacy on the internet, Mark Zuckerberg himself, is creating a crypto. But I did think it would be a good thing just for crypto overall, because it gives it sort of somewhat legitimacy, right? So people who just normies or teenage thoughts or whatever who are addicted to their Facebook, who would never hear, they probably don't even know about silver and gold or currency. They'd say, "Oh, what's this crypto thing Facebook is doing," and then they'd get into Bitcoin. So that's my hope for it. There's a silver lining, but as Rich Paul and the Grateful Dead say, every silver lining has a touch of gray. So I'm sure it's going to suck and bite us.
It's going to be a really sucky thing. We're going to get into it here, but it may be good for Bitcoin. I think you might be right about that. We'll dig into the dirty details coming up here in moments from Forkfest 2019. Forkfest.party. Go and learn more and come out here. It's not too late to join us. We're here all weekend.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
It's Free Talk Live, and we're at Forkfest 2019. We got a studio audience here today because, well, it's not raining, and it is actually probably 10 degrees warmer than it was yesterday. Ian and Vincent here already. Aria joining us. Hey, Aria.
Hey, how's it going?
Turn you up a little bit. It's going good.
It actually did rain very briefly.
Yeah, there was like a sprinkling just a minute ago. But it's been sunny most of the day today. You got up a little later than I did, and Vincent was up at like 5 a.m.
Oh, my God, dude.
5:30 a.m.
Why?
Oh, well, there was like a crow right above me, and it was like doing its mating call, and it was so light out, and all the birds and everything, and it was just such a beautiful day, and I wanted to get started and enjoy Forkfest alone.
It's easier to get up when you're camping than it is when you're in a hotel room.
I guess so.
It is because like in the hotel room, there's a closed
Quiet.
door. It's quieter. When you're out here, it's just something about camping, and people that have done it, I'm sure know this. I've camped here before and in other places, but something about camping, you're just more likely to get up with the natural rhythms.
Yeah,
of
you wake
things.
up with the sun, especially because in my tent, there's no like blocking or anything. The sun just, the ray of the light just comes
Exactly.
through.
It's going to wake you up at some point, and it's going to heat up the tent too at some point as well. So we're here at Forkfest, and it's like I said, it's just getting started. You can go to forkfest.party to learn more. If you're going to be in New England over the weekend, come on up to Lancaster, New Hampshire, and join us here. It is a great event full of wonderful people. You can actually hear folks chatting in the background. We've got at least half a dozen folks just kind of hanging out, talking with one another here. And this is kind of what the LRN tent did in the last couple of years. Because we're here first, we're one of the first people that show up. It's kind of a gathering point for people. We're not the center. There's no center, as we discussed yesterday. It's just a decentralized event. There's nobody in charge at Forkfest. There's no centralized command and control, bureaucracy or board of directors or anything like that.
This is the third Forkfest, correct?
Correct. This is
Cool.
the third
so
one.
I haven't missed one yet.
Excellent. Nor have I. And it's Vincent's
Shocking.
first. We were talking about that earlier tonight. Or today. It's, by the way, the afternoon when we're recording this, but you'll be listening later tonight because we'll play it back later for you on the radio. But we were just about to get into the Facebook crypto. I'm putting air quotes around that. The Facebook cryptocurrency and who's going to be behind it coming up here in moments. We're going to do that. But I also want to mention AnyPay. AnyPay.global is where you go. They're setting up right now the AnyPay massive 30-foot diameter geodesic dome.
It broke.
Wait, this morning or last night?
Like just now. I was helping
no.
them move it. It broke. I mean, they've got spare parts, so they'll be able to repair it. But it is not back to zero, but back to like 25 to 30%.
Well, last night, I don't even know if we were at that. They wanted to put it together at nighttime last night, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. But I helped them anyway. We tried, and it needed to be done during the day. And it helps if you follow the instructions as well.
Yeah, and start at the top. And
well, no, you have to
down.
start. They say you have to start at the instructions say you have to start at the bottom.
Really?
Yeah. But they skipped a step, and I think that was probably whatever. It is what it is. It's a learning experience. If you've never put one of those domes together before, and I have not, you're gonna probably screw some stuff up. I mean, it's complicated. Simple, but complicated, if that makes any sense. Go to anypay.global. These guys can help you get started taking cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, Dash, Zcash, Bitcoin Cash, and others at your business or even at your tent here at Forkfest, where you might be selling some delicious food. I just had some
Biscuits, sausage,
Biscuits.
and gravy.
I should have remembered. I just ate it. Biscuits, sausage,
Where
and
did
gravy.
you find that at?
It's just down here on the right.
That's good to know.
It's at Vincent's tent, actually. Vincent and Matt are going to be cooking here all weekend. And it was only $5, but I paid in cryptocurrency. And I noticed that there was a mistake made at the site. They weren't using AnyPay, and the mistake was that, yeah, you can use any old cryptocurrency wallet to take crypto, but they were doing it the old-style way, where they printed out a QR code, and I'm like...
Roach was doing this?
Yeah, so the reason why people will print a QR is because it seems like it's easier, and it is, on one hand, easier because you don't have to, like, get out your phone, you don't have to punch in an amount or whatever, you just kind of let the customer do it, but that's the problem. Is you don't want to ever let customers decide how much cryptocurrency to spend on a sale. And it's not to say the customer is going to be a scammer, although those people do exist. You want to protect against potential scammer customers, but usually it's just the absent-minded customer, the customer who's not paying close enough attention, the customer who accidentally puts in an extra zero or not enough zeros or whatever, and so they don't end up sending you the correct amount. Well, if you're not looking, you don't know. So if you say that's going to be $5 worth of cryptocurrency, and then they just scan this code and then they put in the amount, they might put in 50 cents. They might put in $50, and if they put in $50, then the customer's going to come back later. They're going to be mad if they notice, and they're going to think, they're going to be mad even though they're the ones who screwed it up. So you always want to use an app like AnyPay's app over at helpmetakebitcoin.com, because then you, as the business owner or the cashier, you put in the amount, then the customer scans the code with their phone, and then they see on their screen, oh, this business is requesting $5 worth of Dash. Do you approve this? Yes, I approve it. So then the customer's checking the cashier's work, because cashiers can screw things up too, right? But then at least the customer's being the check on the cashier, rather than just having a QR code sitting out on the counter where nobody's checking anything. That's going to lead to problems. Yeah. So that booth is going to get set up with AnyPay. I talked to Matt, and he was,
I mean, it takes 30 seconds.
Well, he was fixing his tent at that point. So
that might be more important.
I had to come up here and broadcast. He had to fix his tent. So we'll get it done later on today. But if you want to get your business ready to roll for accepting cryptocurrency, helpmetakebitcoin.com is the site to go to. Super simple steps to get started with that. So, Facebook. It's been in the news over the last few months, here and there, especially in the cryptocurrency news, that Facebook is going to launch a cryptocurrency. Now, do you buy that Facebook, just knowing that, do you think it's actually going to be a cryptocurrency?
No, rather than a zero proof cryptocurrency, this will be a zero privacy cryptocurrency.
No doubt. No doubt.
I would not
but I'm going
touch
to question
this.
whether it's crypto at all. I don't think it's going to even be cryptographically
It may be
secure.
a digital currency.
Yeah, it is going to be digital, but I don't think it's going to be open source. I don't think because
it certainly won't be open source.
Normally, if you look at cryptocurrency, you consider a few different things, right? And you're kind of like a crypto expert. You're on the Call to Freedom.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Well, at least Will used to say that you were like their crypto expert on Call to Freedom. You were analyzing different cryptos frequently on your own show.
Yeah.
And normally I would think if you're going to have a cryptocurrency, you want it to be open source, because that's the way almost all of them have been. You want it to be decentralized, meaning that anybody can run a node on the network. Anybody without asking permission should be able to download a piece of software that's open source so it can be audited to make sure that it's secure and run that node. So those are two pretty important aspects to cryptocurrency, right? Decentralization, being able to run your own node, and transparency. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, the ability to audit other people's work, you can't really diagnose and proofread your own work. So
it's hard to do that.
It is.
That's why they have editors in the book business.
Right. And that's why, multiple programmers will come together. That's why open source is so great. If you release this thing, it's open source, you're not going to catch every bug or every security vulnerability.
Right.
It's just not going to happen. But somebody else coming in will have an entirely different perspective on things and an entirely different set of knowledge to work from. So not having that, I mean, Facebook's a security problem in the first place. I mean, just perpetually.
Oh, God.
Twitter isn't
look
constantly
at all the data
news.
they've lost.
Yeah. Twitter isn't constantly in the news, losing all of our data.
That doesn't mean they won't.
No, but it seems to largely be an endemic problem at Facebook, where they don't care about our information.
It ain't your data. You gave it to them.
Yeah.
They can do what they want with it. They can sell it. They can give it away. They can lose it. It looks bad for them, but it's not like people are exiting the platform at a dramatic rate. They are leaving. Some people are leaving. But.
Well, we're also banning billions of accounts.
Right? Didn't you tell me the health ranger got his account shut down?
Oh yeah, not just that was the reason, but also literally they've had I don't know if it was billions, but because that seems like a big number. They had millions of accounts just got deactivated over the course of a few months.
Wow. So, do we miss anything else that should qualify crypto as a crypto?
Well, it has to be actually cryptographic in nature.
Right. But the only way you would know that is if it was open source, because you can't take their word for that, right? We got more coming up here in moments. We'll talk more about the so-called crypto that Facebook is about to launch, and we'll tell you who's behind it as well. And you probably won't be shocked by it. It's Free Talk Live at Forkfest 2019. Forkfest.party to learn more. It's Free Talk Live. We're here on day number 2 of Forkfest 2019. You can go to forkfest.party. That's a website, by the way, forkfest.party. That's where you can go to learn more about this event. It's going through the weekend, so there's still time to get up here if you're planning on doing that. It's just getting started, and we're looking forward to seeing you here as we broadcast this show, which is Free Talk Live. With you here, it's Ian.
Aria.
And Vincent.
And by the way, if you're a liberty-minded person, if you're an individual who rejects the initiation of force and agrees to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle, you should be over at liberty.menu promoting whatever it is that you do. Maybe you are behind an event. Maybe you are a digital content creator. Maybe you've got a spider, by the way, on your hair, and now I think you may have gotten it off. Let me take a quick look. All right. You saw it go? Okay, you're good. You're good.
On to me.
These are the
now.
risks.
Welcome to the campsite.
We are in the woods-ish. Not really in the woods, but we're on a campground, and there are some bugs here. And, got to look out for each other. Anyway, so sorry to interrupt the show there, but that was important. So Liberty.menu wants you to avoid spiders and put your content there, whatever it is you do, the business that you run, the event that you run. If you're a liberty-minded person, a libertarian, an anarchist, a voluntarist, you need to be listed on Liberty.menu. In fact, I'm sure the owner of Liberty.menu is going to be here, Patrick. We'll look forward to maybe bringing him in to get an update on things going on behind the scenes, but it's a great site, and it's free, so why not? Go to Liberty.menu. You can use code FTL and get a special Free Talk Live listener badge. That's Liberty.menu. As we continue here from Forkfest 2015, just about to, we're getting into this Facebook so-called crypto and going down a list of things that really need to exist. As you pointed out, it's there in the name, cryptocurrency, so it needs to be cryptographically secure.
Right.
Which is, that's basically like complicated math without getting into any kind of engineering or whatever. And if a company says, well, trust us, we're secure.
Well, if it's
that's not how it works.
If it's not actually encrypted, it would run the serious risk of actually incidentally becoming open source because it wouldn't be encrypted, so people could just sort of decompile the coin software and do a sort of audit that way. So I imagine they would at least do some sort of bare minimum encryption.
But if it's not open source, you can't audit the encryption, so you don't know anything about the programming or the code. You can't
it'll likely
Facebook's
have backdoors
word.
built into
That's
it.
the problem. Right. So if it's not open source, I don't think it's a cryptocurrency. Because then, when Facebook's like, well, our WhatsApp is a messaging service and it's encrypted. Well, how do we know you don't have the keys to it?
Yeah. In Facebook's case, they've got the keys to it.
Of course they do. And then of course so open source, encryption, and decentralization and being able to run your own node without asking any permission. That's why Bitcoin has over 10,000 nodes worldwide, and that's why it can't be shut down, because there's no way, even a combination of governments trying to target all those nodes, it would be impossible to put a stop to it.
No, it would take something like a supernova or worldwide EMP in order to just fully knock out Bitcoin. You'd have to get every single one, because any one of those could completely rebuild the currency.
Right, even if that happened, even if the EMP shut down the computers, as long as the storage, the blockchain is still stored in at least one place, all that crypto's still there.
Yep.
Once you get the internet back up, it'd be back.
Yep.
Or a mesh network or whatever it is that you'd put up. So here's the story. This from Forbes.com. I can't read the Wall Street Journal one because they lock out everybody, so they don't apparently want you to read their stuff.
It must not be very important, then, if they don't want you to read it.
According to the Wall Street Journal, Facebook's soon-to-be-released cryptocurrency project, dubbed Libra, has drawn massive investment from some notable companies. Payment companies such as Visa and MasterCard, as well as transportation company Uber, and even PayPal was listed on this list of companies as well, apparently, are reportedly in for around $10 million each.
I mean, we knew this was going to happen. We knew the institutional money system was going to get involved in cryptocurrency. They first put their toes into it with things like Ripple and Token Pay. So it's not surprising that they're sort of banding together to create this currency that won't be decentralized. It won't have any of the hallmarks of cryptocurrency. And because they're Facebook, they'll be much more easily able to get people to adopt it.
I'm sure that's their plan.
Yeah, and just squeeze out Bitcoin entirely would be their plan. Will be successful.
They were even talking about running like Facebook crypto, so-called. I'm going to just call it Facebook coin because calling it a crypto isn't fair. I don't think there's no proof it's going to be cryptographically secure or anything like that. But all the media, of course, is calling it a cryptocurrency. So you're going to hear people using that word associated with it, and I don't think it qualifies at all. But anyway, the Facebook coin they're talking about having vending machines for Facebook coins as well. So they're really trying to, ape what's going on in the world of cryptocurrency, while being the complete opposite of that, while being completely centrally controlled, completely managed. They mentioned here in this article the $10 million investment of Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, Uber, and I'm sure other mega corporations. And you may be asking yourself, why $10 million? Well, there's another story we had about the Facebook coin that we hadn't read on the air just because we didn't get to it. We don't get to all our show prep here. The $10 million price point is what Facebook was demanding in order to become a node in their system.
So hold on. They were demanding $10 million from each company?
For any company that wants to be a node in the Facebook coin, so to run a server, basically, it's decentralized. Look, we got a server over at PayPal's server farm. We got a server over at Uber. We got a server over at It's decentralized.
All of whom invested $10 million into it and therefore have a vested interest in keeping it controlled.
Absolutely.
Screw that. I mean,
and
if you
don't have $10 million, so you don't get to run a node. It's not decentralized in any way, shape, or form.
No, but I have integrity, so I don't get to use Facebook coin either.
Sure. You don't want to. You wouldn't want to run a node. But my point here is this isn't decentralized. It's completely centralized. It's just an oligopoly kind of situation.
Yeah, I mean, they are the gatekeeper of who can have a node and who isn't. It, by
Correct.
definition, cannot be...
Right, yeah, you couldn't even just walk in and plunk down even if you had $10 million, you couldn't just go in and be like, give me a node. They'd be like, no, you've got red hair. No, we can't give a transsexual a node. Or whatever, you know, or you're a libertarian.
Well, that'll
or
get them a lawsuit. They can't do that form.
They can do whatever they want. It's
it
their
wouldn't
currency.
get them a lawsuit from me.
No, it's their currency. They can do whatever they want to with this. So the claim is they're going to be announcing this as soon as next week, following months of secrecy and speculation, with the product expecting to come into effect for their users next year. So it's still a little ways off, but it sounds like they're putting in the, whatever back end that they need to do. The Facebook coin, or global coin, as they have called it at least once in the past, is expected to be, now get this, a stable coin. You're just loving this. I told you were going to love this. Now, why did you go, when you heard the word stable coin?
Because stable coins have one purpose. If you're switching around a bunch of cryptocurrencies, they're good for holding the value because they don't fluctuate. Ideally,
so
they don't
these ones that are
fluctuate.
tied to the dollar, for instance, like Tether, as they've called it.
But they're terrible. They're backed by the U.S. dollar. Well, they're not even backed by the U.S. dollar, but they're
Some
tethered
are questionably
to it.
backed. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want that because the USD is constantly inflating and becoming less and less valuable.
Right.
Why would I want my cryptocurrency to do that? Instead, I would use something like Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash, which is ordinarily steadily increasing in value. It goes up and down, but the general trend is an enormous increase in value.
Yeah, so even though these tethers and USDCs, and there's like a few of these things that are tied, there's a few different competing so-called stable coins that are tied to the U.S. dollar.
And once something drastic happens, like with Nubits, which used to be basically a dollar tether, it drops down to like 2 cents each and never recovers.
Oof.
I think Nubits right now is like 25 cents.
Or they find out that the company that's claiming that every unit is backed by a dollar is lying, and they don't actually have them backed by dollars. That could make them fall through the floor, too.
Yeah.
So, some of these things are being traded on exchanges, but they're still not subject to true market manipulation or market valuation of what these things are worth. So... But it gets worse, Arya, or even more confusing, I guess I should say, because the so-called stable coin of the Facebook coin is not only going to be a so-called stable coin, but they're saying it's going to be tied to a basket of currencies. I am not sure exactly how that works. I mean, I'm not, economics expert or anything like that, but they're not just going to tie it to the dollar. They're going to have yen, dollar, some other currencies, the ruble. I don't know what they're going to throw in there. They're throwing in different government currencies into a basket.
Well,
and
the U.S. government is not going to like this.
Well,
I mean, this
they're
seems
going to
like
have
a step
full
toward
approval from the U.S. government.
I don't know.
Sure.
It seems like a step toward moving the USD off of the worldwide reserve currency. And
well,
I think
I'm
the
sure
US
Facebook would love to be the world's currency.
I'm sure they would too, but the U.S. government would not love for Facebook to be.
This is true.
Unless they have some sort of sweetheart deal.
Well, we're pretty sure they do, actually, so you're not wrong.
The coin here is being lined up for usage in Facebook's messaging app, WhatsApp. While there has been no confirmation from any of the companies mentioned above or Facebook about the investment, the Wall Street Journal quotes sources close to the project, saying that the firms from several different sectors, including finance, e-commerce, venture capital, and telecom industries, have each invested around $10 million in a consortium that will govern the coin.
So this wasn't a $10 million total investment?
No, each. It costs
Right.
$10 million to be an investor and get a node in the Facebook currency.
Right, but if they weren't interested in a node per se, they were just interested in seeing this built. That's what I assumed that PayPal and things like that done, because the article
Hold that
wasn't
thought.
initially clear.
We'll continue here in moments. This is Free Talk Live from Forkfest 2019 at Forkfest.party.
And not to mention the shedding, I would vacuum the carpet 3 times a week. Frodo was scratching all night long, bouncing on the side of the bed, keeping me awake the whole entire night from all the scratching and chewing. It kind of makes you neurotic.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy?
Mounds and mounds of fur all over the place.
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com. If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
Dinovite is nutrition.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
He gobbles it up. He's not up all night scratching. His shedding is minimal, and it is such a pleasure to have my calm, relaxed, non-shedding puppy back. And I have to thank Dinovite for that.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dinovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live at Forkfest 2019. You can go to forkfest.party and learn more about this event. It is just getting started. We're not even at the halfway point. That'll be late tomorrow when that happens, so you still have time to join us. Up here with you here, it's Ian.
Aria.
And Vincent.
As we continue picking apart this Facebook coin, a.k.a. global coin, which is something that it appears they want to take over the global marketplace for digital currency. And I think it's important to call this a digital currency because that's what it's going to be. It is not going to be a cryptocurrency. Yet every mainstream media publication that is reporting on this, including the crypto publications that I've seen, have been calling this a cryptocurrency, which I think is incredibly bad because it's mixing up this concept of this Facebook. And I think to just call it a Facebook coin isn't even as accurate as to call it like mega corporate coin. Because now you've got, according to this article at the Wall Street Journal, which is being cited in a variety of places, PayPal, Uber, MasterCard, Visa, and I'm sure others who have yet to be named. This is all from an insider source. None of this is, publicly announced information by Facebook yet. But these are massive mega corporation, massive billion, multi-billion, trillion-dollar companies in the case of like Visa and MasterCard.
And that's
right?
the danger here. I mean, as we were discussing a moment ago in the break, somebody mentioned investment or trying to make money, but it's a stable coin. So that's not on the table as long as it's actually functioning as a stable coin.
So how are they going to make money off of this?
I don't think it's about money. It's about control. It's about squeezing out actual cryptocurrencies because Facebook has an edge with reaching people and appealing to people. They can push this right into the faces of something like 1.5 billion people.
Well, MasterCard already has and Visa already have control over the credit card digital payments market.
Right, and cryptocurrency is a direct threat to that.
But what is Facebook coin going to do to help them? I mean, are they going to start charging fees?
They're buying their stake in the new world is essentially what they're doing. And hoping
but they got to
get
fees, right? MasterCard and Visa have to pull massive fees in order to exist because they have huge bureaucracies, huge companies to support.
I'm sure that's the purpose of the node, is to make some sort of fee from this.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what the fee structure is going to be because if there's no crypto, it's not cryptocurrency. Most cryptocurrencies have a mining process where there's a process that
staking
people can go into that generates more of the coins. If this is going to be somehow backed by a basket of currencies, it couldn't be mined into existence, right? Or it's all very confusing to me as to exactly how this is going to play out. Because MasterCard, I was watching a video recently. It was a guy from MasterCard from like Asia, but he was like British or whatever. He was speaking English, and it was basically a hit piece against Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. He was talking about how bad cryptocurrency is and how great MasterCard is because MasterCard is completely regulated. MasterCard is controlled by government regulations. We know where the money's going to. We know where the money's coming from. We have know your customer requirements.
These were marks in their favor? This is why
right.
you should use this?
This is MasterCard. This is their belief system, right?
Perspective is weird because I hear this is a list of reasons why you should not use this.
That's right. Well, because we're people who appreciate freedom and people who appreciate being outside of these control systems and control grids and all that. But MasterCard is a completely obedient company. They're tied in with the banks. They're tied in with the governments. And this video, and we are getting a bit of a shower here now at Rogers Campground. But this video was all about like showing off to the government how obedient MasterCard is. and how the government.
Well, who doesn't
can
like a
count
good
on
sub?
Anyway, the reason I point this out is because MasterCard is not a friend of cryptocurrency. And the reason why I was watching this video in the first place is because MasterCard invested into a company called DCG, which stands for the Digital Currency Group. Guess who DCG invested in?
Facebook.
Maybe, but DCG invested in a company called Blockstream. Have you ever heard of them?
I've heard it, and I remember they suck, but I don't remember why.
Blockstream is the company that is behind the Lightning Network. Do you know what that is?
Oh, yeah. I tend to avoid it.
Can you explain briefly what it is?
It basically moves your cryptocurrencies.
Bitcoin specifically is what it's on right now.
Right. It only uses Bitcoin. I think it's a bunch of Bitcoin maximalists who are trying to work around Bitcoin's enormous problems without admitting that these enormous problems actually exist and cannot be solved by Bitcoin inherently. But it's basically an instantaneous network that's off the blockchain. Nothing actually gets written to the blockchain, which is what slows down
the blockchain's
Bitcoin
the ledger, the
transactions.
public ledger behind Bitcoin and other cryptos.
And it instead happens in this sort of network that's running behind the scenes. And if
more
you want
centrally controlled.
Yes, absolutely. And if you want to put it back onto the blockchain, you can certainly do that. And that's when all of the fees and things like that will come into play.
Right.
But ideally, it's a useful thing on occasion. Especially,
Lightning? Have you used it before?
I have.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of it because I don't see the point.
Isn't it kind of complicated? Like, there's extra steps involved. Like, you got to fund your Lightning account first.
Well, it's just like any other wallet, except it doesn't use the blockchain. So you would have to send Bitcoin to a Lightning wallet. Right. And from there, you send it to other Lightning addresses or even to a Bitcoin Core address. But I don't know if I'd say it's really more complicated, but why go through all of those steps when you can use Bitcoin Cash or Dash? Or even Litecoin or Ethereum or something that doesn't involve a $5 transaction fee to send $4 worth of Bitcoin.
The way I see it as an extra step is in order to create the Lightning account, you have to first send Bitcoin to that Lightning node, right? So you have to first acquire Bitcoin. Then you have to send it to the Lightning node in order to open your Lightning channel with your Lightning account. Then you can send on the Lightning network supposedly as much as you want until you then withdraw from the Lightning network at that point. So
it was a while ago, so I don't remember doing that initial step. I thought I was able to create the wallet first and then fund it. Well, I mean,
with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So you have to get Bitcoin first in order to fund the Lightning network.
Yeah, but you're going to have to get Bitcoin first in order to use Bitcoin anyway.
But with all the other ones that you mentioned, you just get the Dash and you can spend it immediately. Here, you have to get the Bitcoin, then put it in the Lightning node.
Yeah, it does involve an additional transaction.
Right, as I understand it. So it's an extra step. Anyway, the Lightning developers are employed by this company, Blockstream.
Oh, well, I don't like this at all.
Blockstream. And the people who support Lightning don't want to talk about this. Okay? Blockstream.
Is Chris Reitman joining us?
He's not here, but he may be showing up on Monday. Blockstream is the company that pays a number of, and I don't know how many, but at least a few of, the key Bitcoin BTC programmers. They're on their payroll. They're on the payroll of Blockstream, which has received money from the Digital Currency Group, which has MasterCard as an investor. So if you're playing follow the money here, you've got a serious problem on your hands. You've got a problem where MasterCard's money has funded the creation of the Lightning Network. MasterCard, the very same company that brags about how great it is because it's government regulated and how much they love the government and being controlled, is now influencing the future of Bitcoin as a cryptocurrency.
Just one more reason to stay away from Bitcoin.
It gets worse. So there's another company called AXA. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
Look them up. It's the number 2, according to Wikipedia, last I looked, the number 2 by, I believe, revenue, number 2 financial services provider on the planet. It's a French bank, basically. It's a French investment corporation, banking kind of investment corporation.
And yet I've never heard of them.
Well, they're French, and it's
But it's the number 2 on the planet.
Yeah, it's big, right? AXA. Okay, well, guess who invested into Blockstream?
AXA.
The AXA put. Now it wasn't clear how much, but when Blockstream was starting up, this is probably like circa 2014, 2015, somewhere in that range. When Blockstream, they had their initial investment phase of like $25 million. And then they did another investment, because like these big companies do investment rounds where they have like round A and then they have round B. So AXA came in on round B, And on round B, they earned about $50 million of investment money. So by that time, they totally had about $75 million in investments.
All of this is just proof that the Bitcoin Core developers and miners,
they're corrupted.
They do not care about you. They do not care about cryptocurrency.
No.
They're in it to make an investment.
They don't want a currency.
No,
you can't use Bitcoin as a currency.
No,
anymore.
they just want to hold
it. The
it.
fees are too high.
And that's by design.
Right. So
if they weren't high, they would generate a bunch of revenue-neutral transactions in order to drive up the amount of traffic on the blockchain and thereby increase the fees involved. They're corrupt.
Yeah, and so AXA put money in this second investment round, and they referred to AXA as one of the key players in that investment round. So it's probably a good chunk of the $50 million that came in was from this major bank backed by, or this major bank, which also was run by, it happened to be run by one of the Bilderbergers. I mean,
I just typed in its name. They have to do it for Rothschilds also in France.
All right, so more coming up here in moments. This is Free Talk Live. Got more on Facebook Coin coming up, too, at Forkfest 2019. It's Free Talk Live. We're at Forkfest 2019, the third year of Forkfest. And what is Forkfest? Well, it's an event that is a libertarian camping festival, but it is decentralized, meaning there's no one who is in charge. You got a problem, you better figure it out yourself, because there's nobody that you can go look to. I mean, you can talk to the campground staff. Obviously, they still are in charge of their own private property that we're on. But beyond whatever the camp rules are, it's whatever you want to do. And so if that's cook some food for some folks that are here on the campground, as we already have at least one food booth that's opened up as of this morning, which is great, because last year there was only one guy doing like burritos in the mornings, and there was nothing for the rest of the day. So we ended up going to the local tavern here just down the road that takes cryptocurrency, which is run by some really nice folks, but it's an expensive place to eat. And so I suspect that we're going to be eating a lot cheaper this year, because we don't need to go down the road this year now that actually my roommate is cooking and you're helping him out, Vincent.
Absolutely. We're going to have s'mores tonight available for people.
You're going to be open late. How late?
Oh, absolutely. We haven't decided yet, but I'm going to be keeping burning. As long as I'm burning stuff, we're going to be serving s'mores. So.
Nice.
Fire. And
you're going to have actual food, not just s'mores as well. Biscuits and gravy.
Got all the chicken out and stuff. It's going to be great.
Yeah, he was prepping all day the day before that we came up. So we came up yesterday. This is day number 2 of Forkfest. He was literally in the kitchen just constantly. And in fact, he was so busy he couldn't come up with us on the convoy. We convoyed up from Keene, New Hampshire, where we live. He was still hustling in the kitchen, getting ready for this. So I mean, he's prepared. The real question that we're going to find out this weekend is, will there be more food than there is people to purchase it? Because we've heard people saying on like the Forkfest chat room on Telegram and the Forkfest forums, they've been announcing that they're going to be cooking. There's like one guy's going to do tacos. There's another guy doing chili. There's different people who have different plans.
Well, I mean, that's good. It will lower prices.
Good. It's going to lower prices, absolutely. I mean, the market will find its level, but
I mean, especially here, of all places.
Yep, absolutely. So there's another spider on my folder this time.
At least it's not in my hair this time.
Exactly. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see who ends up actually showing up and setting up, and how much food we have and how many people show up, because we don't know. There's no ticket prices. There's no statistics that we can really look at beyond maybe talking to the campground and asking them to look at their reservations they had last year at this time compared to this year. That would be the only kind of metric that we could get. But even then, we still don't know if they're here just because they like to be at Rogers Campground or if they're here because of Forkfest. So because there's no central control. There's no ticket sales. And that's awesome, which means the cost is lower, right? Like, for the price of a ticket at the Porcupine Freedom Festival, well, that would buy you a couple nights on a campsite, or at least probably feed you for the whole weekend here. Like I just spent $5 worth of cryptocurrency on the food that I ate today, and I'm full. It was good. So what's a Porcupine Freedom Festival ticket cost? Like $80 or something like that? Maybe even more?
I thought it was closer to like $200.
Yeah, 80.
That's VIP. That's a VIP ticket.
No, I don't know. I think 80 was the very early thing. Because I remember I saw the prices for it recently, and I forget exactly what it was, but it was insane. I can't imagine anyone in their right mind paying for it.
Well, sometimes.
Luckily, I've never had to pay for mine.
Right on.
Good for you.
I heard they'll throw you out if you don't have a pass, though.
Well, I'm usually a speaker.
You're a vendor. Oh, a speaker.
Fest,
Okay. So they comp you.
Right.
I gotcha. But yeah, the Porcupine Freedom Festival is a fine event. It's just a different event, and it attracts a bit of a different crowd. They'll be coming up after Forkfest ends. That starts on Tuesday. Forkfest ends officially on Tuesday morning. Technically, Monday is the last full day of Forkfest. So you still have time to come out and join us. Also, other people sell other things here. I saw Michael Gordon, who's Angie, our Wednesday night co-host's husband. He says he's going to have a fridge set up with just some snacks in it. Nice. At some point. So, it might be one of those things where you just kind of leave the money in the, the box and there's nobody there and you just take what, sort of on the honor system. That tends to work out pretty well here because people are honorable, like pretty decent folks that tend to come to this this event. Like you can leave a nice pair of headphones out or, you can leave things out and come back to it and it's going to be there, most likely. I've never heard of anybody having any kind of theft while they were at the Porcupine Freedom Festival or Forkfest.
And if they did, it seemed to have been the locals who were responsible.
There were some allegations one year that some scuzzy locals did come to Porkfest, the Porcupine Freedom Festival years ago. But another great company that got their start at the Porcupine Freedom Festival was My Magic Mud, and they make a black tooth powder that's made of charcoalized coconut shells and bentonite clay. Even though it's a black powder, it's actually clinically proven to whiten your teeth, and it's an amazing product. They started here on this, it wasn't started on this campground, but they really got their feet wet here by marketing to the Liberty community because they're Liberty-minded folks that are behind that company. And they've had a tremendous success story over the last several years, and now they're back on with Free Talk Live, one of our earlier advertisers way back in the day. They're now available. My Magic Mud is in most health food stores, Sprouts, CVS, Natural Grocers, and even Walmart's Natural Beauty aisle. But there's no reason to go to any of those places when you can just go to mymagicmud.com and use code FTL20. That's FTL20, like Free Talk Live, FTL20, to get 20% off of your order. And if you order enough, and it's not a very high bar, I don't remember. I feel like it was like $20 worth or something. You order a certain minimum amount, you get free shipping. So save 20%, get free shipping. Use code FTL20 over at mymagicmud.com. As we continue here from Forkfest 2019, we were talking about the Facebook coin that some mega corporations are investing in already with $10 million investments each. Companies like Visa and MasterCard, even Uber, PayPal, allegedly. Now, there's not an official list of these things. This is information that's been leaked out to the Wall Street Journal, and the folks over at Forbes magazine are reporting on it. Let's see here. Let me go on with more of the story. So they are going to tie the crypto. I don't want to call it a cryptocurrency. We've already
let's call it a digital token.
The digital token, the Facebook coin. They're trying to tie it to a so-called basket of world currencies, government monies. The consortium of investors is still fluid in its makeup, according to Forbes, with the Wall Street Journal sources saying the talks are ongoing and the final list of investors may change. But the report maintains the consortium is known as the Libra Association. While a lot of information has made its way to the public about the nature of this Facebook crypto, there's still a lot of mystery as to how it will be run and governed. The sources state that neither Facebook nor the consortium members will control the currency. Huh?
Well, if not, the U.S. government will directly.
Somebody is going to be in control of this currency. However, there could be cases where some members could operate nodes on the network that underlies the crypto payments network, which, again, it's not crypto. The payments network. I'm going to leave out the word crypto wherever they use it here because it's just not fair. Many are seeing this entry by Facebook into the market, the currency market, as a massive step for the nascent technology. It represents one of the biggest tech companies globally backing a digital, they're claiming, blockchain-based digital currency. Now, look,
it may be blockchain-based. Right. It doesn't necessarily have to be encrypted to utilize blockchain
or
technology.
Decentralized beyond their servers. Right. You can have. That's why a lot of these corporations like Bank of America and other mega corporations are interested in blockchain as a technology. Blockchain, for listeners that don't know, is the technology that backs cryptocurrencies, most of them, like Bitcoin, for instance.
It's like a bunch of spreadsheet pages where the next spreadsheet page points to the previous one for its data.
It's a decentralized spreadsheet where it's not all located in one place. It's distributed. It's all over the world. There's copies of the Bitcoin blockchain in thousands of places, so it can't be fraud. The books can't be cooked. It can't be defrauded. We'll talk more about blockchain and how any company can use it for their benefit, but just because you're using a blockchain doesn't mean you have a cryptocurrency. More in moments on Free Talk Live. You can join us at Forkfest. Go to forkfest.party.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Every everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
It's Free Talk Live at Forkfest 2019. You can go to forkfest.party to learn more about the event as it happens here. And, of course, if you can't make it out this year, it's going to happen again next year. Except next year, the plan, and, of course, it's decentralized. So if some people want to, Forkfest and do a pre-Forkfest and a post-Forkfest, previously the last few years, and this year included, Forkfest has happened before as a lead-in to the Porcupine Freedom Festival. Well, Steven Zeiler from AnyPay.Global, who arguably, if you want to say Forkfest had a founder, it could be said to be Steven and the guys from AnyPay, but there's an argument there. Anyway, he said that he thought it would be better, and Rich Paul independently also came up with this idea, and he's kind of one of the originals as well, the idea of doing it after the Porcupine Freedom Festival. And the concept being that we're expecting that Forkfest is going to surpass the Porcupine Freedom Festival at some point. Might not be this year. Might not be next year. We don't know, what it's going to, how it's going to grow. But the idea is, like this year,
it is definitely growing, though.
Yes, it is. There's food available on the second day this year, and it wasn't available last year. It wasn't available until like Sunday or Saturday morning, and then it was only burritos in the mornings. But anyway, Forkfest is going to come after the Porcupine Freedom Festival next year. So that's going to bring a few different benefits, right? So one, it might be a little warmer because it'll be 2 weeks from now instead of this week. So it'll actually be like the first week of summertime instead of the second to last week of spring. So it'll be a little bit warmer.
Always a good thing.
Yeah. And then also it'll be after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, which means instead of leading into it, we'll benefit from all the people that are here at the Porcupine Freedom Festival who might want to stay some extra time and continue to stay on Rogers Campground, but then not have to pay for a ticket for the next several days. And plus, this year, Forkfest is now a major sponsor of the Porcupine Freedom Festival. And when Roger Paxton shows up, who's the organizer of the Porcupine Freedom Festival, he usually does a show or two with us here. He's a great guy, host of the Lava Flow podcast. When he shows up, we'll talk more about that whole situation and how Forkfest ended up becoming a sponsor of the Porcupine Freedom Festival, which is kind of funny because Forkfest came out of the Porcupine Freedom Festival. That's what it forked from, and now it is the gold-level sponsor. It's sponsoring the VIP tent. And when I say it, there's not like an organization. It's one guy, right? Like Chris Wade from Think Penguin, he decided to put up the money to sponsor, so
on behalf of Forkfest,
right, so,
which you can do as well.
Right, anybody could, yeah. Right?
If you say, hey, I'm Forkfest, here's some money.
Right, if you wanted to go buy radio ads in Lancaster to promote Forkfest with your money, you could do that. Nobody would be able to tell you couldn't. Right, so that's what happened here, and so some people were even surprised when the news came out that Forkfest is sponsoring Porkfest because again, some people are not happy with the Porcupine Freedom Festival. Some people would have opposed it, right? If they had a chance to vote on this, they would have voted it down because they were mad at the Free State Project or whatever, and you shouldn't spend money. People were saying you shouldn't give, because I might have given some money to this, but some people were saying you shouldn't give money to the Free State Project. They kicked you out of their event, which is something that happened a few years ago. I am still allowed. I'm allowed now to attend the Porcupine Freedom Festival, but I am not invited to. So they can't extend an invitation to me. But I could buy a ticket and be there. I'm not going to.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
But I could if I wanted. So anyway, it's now a sponsor, and we've got these cool. I don't have them with me at the table, but I'll show you later. There's these cool giveaways that we're going to put in the Porcupine Freedom Festival bags because every attendee, because it's centrally organized, they've got bags that they give away to all the attendees because they're paying money. There's stuff in there, advertisements or whatever. But have you ever gotten one of these bags at one of these festivals?
Usually little stickers. Last year they gave away a little Bean Cash paper wallets.
Yeah, right. So usually it's promotional items,
Koch brothers,
stuff that people want to get into your hands to have you look at, right? But it's almost always flyers. right? So how many people have been to a conference, whether it be the Porcupine Freedom Festival or some other cryptocurrency conference or whatever? You get one of these goodie bags. How many people sort it over the trash can? I know I do.
Yeah.
Just throw them right in the trash. Almost everything in that bag. There's almost never anything worth looking at. So Johnson Rice, who is our Tuesday night co-host on Free Talk Live, he came up with an idea for the because Chris's sponsorship, he gets a bag insert. It's part of when you sponsor the Porcupine Freedom Festival, you get an insert in that bag. So Johnson came up with this. He found this item online. It's like a spoon, fork, knife camping combo thing. And it's made out of like super hard plastic. And it's like you can have it in different colors, and it can have printing on it. So you can have like a custom print on this thing. Now, they're not cheap, but they're nice. And they're not a flyer. And it's something that's useful because you're at a campground.
Yeah.
You know, people are serving food all over the place. You can use your own utensil that has a knife on it, which is convenient. It's also a fork and it's a spoon. And it's got Forkfest.party emblazoned right across the unit, which I think is really cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah. I think it's going to be one of those things that people are going to... I think some people are going to keep it because it's a nice product. It's not like a flimsy plasticware thing. It's going to be an upgrade from anything you get at most of the people selling food here because they're just going to have the plastic forks or sporks or whatever. This is like a hard plastic, nice thing. You can wash it. You can keep it. And I think
not destroy the environment as you eat.
If you're into the environmental stuff, it's going to help with that too. So, and it's like one of those environmentally friendly companies that manufactures it in California too. So like they're totally into that. So that's going to happen this year at Porkfest, the Porcupine Freedom Festival. So everybody's going to have in their bag a really nice item that's going to be emblazoned with Forkfest.party on it. And then they're going to go to that website, hopefully, and they're going to learn more about Forkfest if they hadn't heard of anything. We've also got Ernie Hancock this year, who is the host of Declare Your Independence. He has created a Forkfest T-shirt.
Nice.
So there's never been a Forkfest T-shirt before. This year there is. And he's got like a bunch of pre-orders for it. So a lot of the people are going to be, from Forkfest, are going to be wearing Forkfest T-shirts while they attend the Porcupine Freedom Festival. Plus, Chris Wade bought Forkfest banners that he's going to be hanging up. And Forkfest already has banners that are going to be hanging up on the VIP tent because of the VIP sponsorship. So the people attending the Porcupine Freedom Festival this year, if they haven't heard of Forkfest before they show up, they're going to know about it by the time they leave.
Well, then having it afterward next year is perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah, perfect timing.
Yeah. So that's the idea is we'll do the branding this year, but they can't go this year because it's too late. By the time they learn about it this year, it'll be too late. But when they go to the website, they'll learn that next year Forkfest will come after the Porcupine Freedom Festival. So then if they're planning to come to the Porcupine Freedom Festival, they can just plan to stay a few extra days afterwards. And we're also talking about extending Forkfest to a full week.
Wow.
What do you think of that?
I love it.
Because that's the way the Porcupine Freedom Festival used to be. It used to be a full week-long event, and it is no longer. They've cut it down to a 5-day event.
Right.
So we would then be sort of taking that old positioning of being a full week. We wouldn't start on Thursday. We would start on a Monday because the Porcupine Freedom Festival ends on a Sunday. So we'd wait till the next day to officially start, and then
we would end the following Sunday?
We'd end the following Sunday.
Beautiful. Sounds great.
I think it's going to work out really well. I'm excited about it. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to have you guys here, and it's a great group of people so far. People are hanging out here today. We got folks chilling here at the campsite, and I think it's going to be a good second night here. You got lawnmowers in the background. I mean, we really are outdoors here at Rogers Campground, and they do keep the lawns well maintained. There's got to be a lot of mowing going on here. I mean, they've got to be constantly. They've got to be constantly mowing, like every day, basically. So let's see. What were we saying about Facebook? We were talking about, what is the blockchain? This is going to happen. We're going to go off on tangents. We do that on Free Talk Live anyway, but it's going to be even more tangential as we're out here, especially as drugs start getting mixed into people's experiences more often, during the day and all that. I'll be responsible, though. I probably won't be doing drugs before the show.
Likewise, I mean, as long as, we're able to actually broadcast Call to Freedom from here, then I will keep it level throughout the day.
I'm hoping we can. We're going to test it today. Yeah. If we can finish this in time, we're going to test it because it's so easy to get distracted and have conversations with folks. And we're putting our nose to the grindstone. We're doing talk radio here. Then we can hang out. you can join us. Go to forkfest.party. We got more coming up on cryptocurrency, the so-called Facebook coin, and more. It's Free Talk Live. It's Free Talk Live. We're at Forkfest 2019. Joining you here, it's Ian,
Aria,
and Vincent.
Vincent, the host of Questioning Authority, which is going to have a special show, I believe, tonight. That you recorded earlier this week.
Well, tonight's Friday.
Well, actually, yeah, it is airing Friday and Saturday. I don't know if
it's
you knew
airing
that,
both. Oh, no, I didn't.
I'm airing your show as a refeed on Friday and live on Saturday, but since you're not going to probably be live on Saturday, I just loaded it up before Friday, so that way the same show is actually going to run both Friday and Saturday night. And that's on LRN.FM. You can check him out there. Aria, the host of Call to Freedom, may or may not be live today. We haven't tested the remote live equipment yet. That's what I'm hoping to do after we finish recording this. So you may be able to hear her at LRN.FM live on Friday, but by the time you hear this, it'll be past that time. So you may be able to hear her Monday on LRN.FM live, or maybe sometime this weekend. You said you might want to do a Saturday show, so we'll see about that.
I mean, if the internet is there and I'm not tripping.
Well, that would be an interesting show if you were.
It would be. It would be an enjoyable one, I think.
So we're here at Forkfest. It is at Rogers Campground. It's a beautiful day, by the way. The sun is out. The temperature is nice. Nice breeze passing through here. We've got a good group of folks. I can't even quite see behind me. Was it like 10 people here?
I think, 10 to a dozen.
Yeah, there's like a lot of people just hanging out, which is cool. This is what happens here at Forkfest. There's no fancy big name speaker on a stage somewhere. It's just people on a campground doing what they want to do. Now, there's still a lot of construction going on. If you're just tuning in, the guys from AnyPay.global have a massive 30-foot diameter geodesic dome that they're putting together. It's their first time building something like that. I've never built one before. Some of us went to help them out last night. They've been at it all day today.
You can see it from here.
How's it coming along? I'm not facing that direction.
So it's they built it taller so far than I've seen in their previous attempts. So it looks like it's coming together.
It's coming along. Nice. I'm thinking they're going to have that done for tonight. And if so, then Steven from AnyPay is going to be DJing every night, playing electronic music here and having basically thrown a rave every single night.
Oh, it's going to be great.
I'm looking forward to it.
As am I.
And then, of course, the big gay dance party. It'll culminate after nights of, just throwing sort of dance music parties. They're going to do the ultimate party, which is the big gay dance party, where some people will get dressed up or dressed down, and they will be having a good old time in that dome. The Alt Expo folks have not yet come to set up. I heard they ended up having trouble with their tent, so I don't know what's going to happen with that. But that doesn't matter because, whether one group or not does or doesn't show up, we're still here, and there's still a bunch of people yet to come. Again, it's still early. We're not even to the halfway point here. We've got 5 broadcasts we're going to do. This is number 2. And you can join us. Go to forkfest.party to learn more about the event. There's a Telegram chat that's very busy at this point with dozens of participants. There's the Forkfest forum. There's even a calendar. All this stuff is unofficial because it's all decentralized, and nobody is truly in charge. So, speaking of things that are not decentralized, we're going to talk more about this Facebook coin that the media has been dubbing a cryptocurrency. Now, look, if you want a real cryptocurrency, there's a bunch of them out there from which you can choose. There's, of course, the original Bitcoin, BTC. There's Ethereum. There's Monero. There's Ripple. There's Stellar. There's Bitcoin Cash. There's Dash. There's Zcash. There's a ton of these things out there. And a lot of them
probably thousands at this point.
There are at least a couple thousand listed on CoinMarketCap alone. Now, the bigger, more important ones are available in the Edge wallet. Edge wallet is the best cryptocurrency wallet, in my opinion, and that is not something they're paying me to say. I wouldn't say it if it weren't true to me. It's the wallet that I use more so than any other wallet. Just used it today, actually, to receive a couple of payments for some two-way radios that I'm selling here on the campground. And folks paid in Dash, but I could have taken Bitcoin Cash or several others because Edge supports a bunch of cryptos. You can buy, sell, trade, and securely hold your cryptocurrencies, and it's user-controlled. You're in charge of your own money, unlike the Facebook coin where they're going to be in charge. If Facebook wants to block you from their system, they're going to block you from it. If Facebook wants to freeze your account, just like PayPal, they're going to freeze your account. Why do you think PayPal got involved? Why do you think Visa and MasterCard are involved? They don't want to be involved in something where you have control. And Edge gives you control of your money, of your cryptocurrencies. They've been building wallets since 2014. Secure your freedom with Edge.app. That's their website. You can download it for iOS and Android, of course, through those associated app stores. But you can also go to their website and learn more and download it through Edge.app. As we continue here talking about this Facebook coin that is... it's going to be a mess. It's going to be bad news for the people who use it. But ultimately, will it be bad news for cryptocurrency?
I think they would like it to be. But I think the ideological roots of cryptocurrency are strong enough that they can't squeeze out those roots.
And when you say the ideological roots, what do you mean?
I mean, an individual should be able to control their own livelihoods, their own financial investments, their own financial holdings. And, of course, the entire system that we've had since 1913 has been all about you not actually controlling it.
Right.
You can hold it temporarily, but ultimately you're not the one in charge.
Well, that was one of the major paradigm shifts of Bitcoin. Satoshi Nakamoto, the anonymous creator of Bitcoin. Did you want to say something?
Not
please?
so anonymous anymore.
What do you mean?
It's just Craig Wright joke.
Oh, you're joking about the guy who's claiming to be Satoshi Nakamoto but has never proven the fact that, or the claim that he is Satoshi Nakamoto.
No, and as far as I can tell, he's basically proven that he isn't.
By doing, like, suing people in court and all that? Like,
well, that and by attempting to say, hey, look, these are the first 70 blocks of Bitcoin that I mined, and it turns out that, you know, one other person who actually mined one of those blocks was not mined by Satoshi. It was mined using different software. And he came forward and he was like, no, that's actually
mine.
my wallet, and I can prove it.
Right, because somebody who has a cryptocurrency wallet can prove it's cryptographically by signing a statement with the wallet, and then you know for a fact that that person has that wallet under their control. And Craig Wright has never done that ever.
No, and it would take him 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly, if he were actually Satoshi Nakamoto. But anyway, the idea of the ideological concepts. Satoshi Nakamoto released this thing anonymously, so like it had anonymity sort of in its founding to allow you to have control over your money to where you're not asking permission from anybody. If you want to create a cryptocurrency wallet, you just go and download one of them. You don't have to use Edge Wallet. There's a bunch of them out there. There are a lot of different crypto wallets, and almost all of them are completely free, and many of them are open source. Not all of them, however. And you download a wallet, and you get rolling. You don't have to sit down and fill out a form. You don't have to sit in front of some banker.
There's
who looks
no
at
approval
ID.
process.
Right. You don't have to ask permission. And these companies like Visa and MasterCard, they want you to beg them. And if you don't appease them, and if you don't appease the government, they can freeze your accounts. No one can freeze your Bitcoin account unless you're using like a Coinbase where they control your Bitcoin account. Because there are some companies who, I'm putting this in quotes, make it easy.
Yeah, do not keep your cryptocurrency on an exchange. Even if you buy it on an exchange, immediately move it off.
Right. Put it into your wallet like Edge Wallet or one of the others out there. Back to the story here about Facebook coin. Again, mega companies investing in this thing. It's going to be launched very soon. It'll be for users sometime in 2020, but it's going to supposedly start, whatever that means, next week.
Well, I mean, the cryptocurrency was essentially invented to fight the financial system.
Right.
Did we expect them to not fight back?
Great point.
Because that's all this is.
This is what they're
fighting
doing.
Back.
This is a big effort on their part.
They're trying to use their already entrenched power system, their already entrenched reach, in order to squeeze out the actual cryptocurrencies that were designed to fight them. And I don't think it'll be successful.
I hope it won't. And at the very least, I don't think it will kill cryptocurrencies. I think that cryptocurrencies
it may in fact help them.
It may, and that may backfire.
Cryptocurrency isn't so unusual. After all, Facebook is using it, but I don't want Facebook coin.
No,
I'm just going to buy Bitcoin, the one that people are always talking about.
Plus, as you pointed out, Facebook coin isn't going to go up in value. They're tying it to government money.
Now, how does this work in relation to their latest policy? And they may have reversed the system where you can't advertise cryptocurrency or crypto-related services on Facebook.
I suspect they're not going to reverse that at all. Why would they?
No, so you may end up trying to, hashtag Bitcoin something. Oh, your account's been deactivated for promoting cryptocurrency.
Well,
they do have the power to do that.
If that's what it takes to get you off of Facebook, then okay, let them ban you.
Sure.
Just get out of there.
I would agree, but they may attempt to use this power to promote their coin exclusively and to actively attack people who are promoting actual cryptocurrencies.
If they, what they're likely going to do, I'll make this prediction, is when you want to buy advertising with Facebook, you'll get a discount if you pay with Facebook coin.
Yeah.
You could pay with MasterCard or Visa or your bank account or whatever, but if you use Facebook coin, you'll get 5% or 10% or something.
That's what most of the crypto vendors here do.
Right.
I mean, and most of the crypto vendors in Keene, you'll automatically get a 5% or 10% discount.
Well, that's thanks to
using
AnyPay.
crypto.
That's AnyPay that's doing that. Just so you know.
Well, I'm talking about like Route 101's. Route
Okay,
101
that's
goods.
the exception. That's not most.
They're the only ones?
Route 101 will give you, that's Chris Reitman, our co-host, he gives 5% off every sale. So if you were to use AnyPay to pay at Route 101, you not only get 5% off the price of the sale, but then you get an extra 10% back if you pay with Dash or Bitcoin Cash, as long as Dash Back and Bitcoin Cash are active. And sometimes they're on, sometimes they're off with AnyPay. So there's not a guarantee that you'll get that back. But Chris is the only one who gives a consistent 5% discount for everything purchased with crypto in his store.
Will did it here at Forkfest when he was here,
Sure.
but he was selling food. So.
And I'd love to see that happen more often, but that takes a real, like, crypto fanatic to run a business, and most of the business owners, they're kind of interested, but they're not fanatics. They're not spending time researching cryptocurrency.
It's a simple business decision when you look at the trends of cryptocurrency. If I have to take
Hold
a 10%...
that thought. We're going to continue. Remember to come back to it, because we got more coming up in Hour 3 here at Forkfest 2019. It's Free Talk Live.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20, mymagicmud.com.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and we're at Forkfest 2019. It's year number 3 of this decentralized libertarian camping festival. With you here in our remote studio, it's Ian.
Aria.
And Vincent.
And we're, of course, happy to talk to you about whatever you want, but you have to be here. You have to kind of come up and actually physically hang out. In reality, there are no phone lines. There's no calling anybody here for the next few days as we're at Rogers Campground. In fact, we're not even sure if we could do a live show if we wanted to. So we're recording here during the daytime, hanging out. That means we get to just chill out at nighttime, which is, of course, pretty optimal in a situation like this, because there's all kinds of people chilling and partying, and it's going to be better tonight because last night was super slow, being the first night. This will be the first night where everybody's off work, right? Like people that work during the week. It's dried out today for sure, and the sun's out, even though it's a nice kind of breezy day. It's just, you really couldn't ask for a nicer day.
Tomorrow is going to be nicer.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right.
Every day
nice.
after today is going to be even nicer than the one before. It's going to be warmer. It's going to be sunnier. It's going to be brighter.
Looking forward to it. So still plenty of time for you to join us. Go to forkfest.party to learn more. As we continue on a little bit more about this Facebook coin, if you're just tuning in, Facebook is promoting that they're going to be launching a so-called stable coin tied to multiple government currencies around the world.
I assume what this will ultimately mean in practice is that you can exchange the currency probably through Facebook for some other government currency. Rather than
That's confusing to me. I don't know.
Like if the value of a yen at any given time is 237 for $1, then at that time you want to facilitate that exchange, you would get 237 yen.
But then that suggests that they would still be tying it to the dollar. Because then the amount of yen would be changing.
That's the truth of the world situation, though, is that all of these other currencies are valued relative to the U.S. dollar.
But we haven't yet heard what Facebook means when they say they're going to tie it to a basket of currencies.
They mean decentralized, privacy, friendliness.
Nope. For me, when I think they say like a basket, like just the first thing that pops up to my mind is like a mutual fund where you have, all sorts of different stocks and things. And you might have, say, like, the basket's like 50% is based in like U.S. dollars and then the rest is based in others. That's the only thing I could think of when they say a basket.
Yeah. But what's that going to mean when you want to cash one of these things out into yen or dollars or what is really confusing.
Well, I'm glad you bring that up because, like what you said, the only practical application for this coin is you said, like you just suggested, might be through trading for advertisements. But like the whole thing I've been wondering this whole time is what's the point? Like, why would
Facebook
someone
wants
want
companies to adopt this?
I mean, but to in order to do what with it?
To
control how we spend our money. To take the whole point of cryptocurrency and neuter it.
They want companies like, just companies you would buy from, Walmart or Amazon or whatever, to accept Facebook coin.
Because otherwise they're going to be taking Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. And that's what scares them.
And it's do they give like a selling, what does it say it's its main selling point?
Well, Facebook themselves has not started to promote this to the consumer yet. At this point, all the news about Facebook Coin has been sort of in the business realm of, oh, we have investors. Here are our investors. But even Facebook hasn't announced those publicly. It's a source inside Facebook who's leaked the information to the Wall Street Journal, who's saying that MasterCard and Visa and PayPal and Uber. So if Uber's investing, then that suggests that Uber will at some point take this coin, right? That they see some sort of benefit in having a stake in the coin that they're accepting. Now, what that's going to mean for them as far as profits or margins or what, we don't know. And how Facebook is going to pitch this to people, we don't know. We do know that Facebook has a payments platform. They already have this. It's called Facebook Payments, if I recall correctly. Have you ever used it?
I have not.
So,
I bought advertising through Facebook, but they're really bad at it.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't charge me the right amount, and then like, hey, we couldn't charge this old car of yours for 6 cents. And I was like, well, why didn't you take the 6 cents when you took the rest of it, you idiots?
So Facebook kind of has this sort of Venmo-like platform where you can put your debit card information into Facebook and then send money to another Facebook user. Are you familiar with this?
I've never used it myself, but
if
you mention money in like a messenger chat, I've seen it says,
They'll
do you want to send the money? And
yeah, that's right. So I think they want to replace their current payments platform with one that uses their own currency, right? That's kind of the idea here.
Why not just use PayPal?
But,
I mean, PayPal isn't ideal either, but they do already exist.
Because they're not in control. Now PayPal is going to be an investor. And even though and Facebook is apparently claiming that they won't be in control of this, which is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, Facebook is going to give up control of power over people. Yeah. I believe that.
So they say here in the story from Forbes.com announcing some more details on this, that it may explain the rush from these investors, as well as the reports that fintech firm Stripe, travel reservations site Booking.com, and e-commerce site Mercado Libre have all signed on to the project. Facebook's digital currency, finally, they called it, that's actually what they referred to it as here, finally. It's not a cryptocurrency, it's a digital currency, will no doubt be integrated into their social media platform, allowing its users to operate a digital currency with ease and across borders, but more so, it could also be integrated into its wholly owned apps, including WhatsApp, Messenger, and Instagram, bringing its currency potential exposure to a combined 2.7 billion users every month. There was a big push in 2018 and through this year for enterprises to find uses for blockchain technology. It has come off the back of 2017, which was a year full of hype around cryptocurrencies. Because of this hype and speculation, cryptocurrency became a bit of a dirty word, says Forbes, as the significant enterprises preferred to rather mull permission blockchains and packable enterprise blockchain solutions. I don't know what words just came out of my mouth.
It sounded like a lot of word salad. I mean,
yeah, did that make any sense at all?
It sounds like something that they'd put in just to get people's attention who know very little about crypto but understand the buzzwords.
I'm going to try to read this one more time, and let's see if we can figure out what this person is saying. Darren Pollock, the author here. Cryptocurrency became a bit of a dirty word, talking about the hype in 2017 surrounding, let's say, the ICOs, these investment things. A lot of them fell flat on their face, were scams and all that. As the significant enterprises preferred to rather mull meaning to think over, right? Permissioned blockchains, permission meaning you'd have to ask permission to join it, which is atypical for cryptocurrency. So that would be more like Facebook's blockchain.
Or Ripple, or TokenPay.
Right. And packable enterprise blockchain solutions. That's where I'm lost completely.
Well, the sentence doesn't really, from a copy editor's point of view, I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
Well, I think what they're referring to on that is things like blockchain software being used for other purposes. Like there was the vegetables on a blockchain thing, and keeping track of diesel fuel on a blockchain, all of that, shipments, importing, exporting. That's probably what they're referring to. There is some sort of packaged software that allows
that a company could then buy to apply to their business, right?
So rather than using like Google Docs or Google Sheets,
you wouldn't have
to
create your own, right? Somebody else is going to make the software and then you just use it.
And that's speculation. I don't know that's what they're referring to.
That could be right, because there is a lot of buzz around blockchain just generally as a technology, and I think we touched on this earlier but maybe didn't flesh it out entirely, where it can benefit a company to have its ledger copied in multiple locations, even if it's not truly decentralized, meaning that if the shipping company that you talked about is tracking things on a blockchain, and the blockchain exists at their 5 locations instead of just at one location, a dishonest employee who wanted to cook the books wouldn't have access to the other 5 locations of the blockchain. And since this ledger is distributed to those 5 locations, if they tried to edit one of those entries on one of them, the other 4 would reject it. Right. So it's a way of preventing scams from happening. It's a way of making sure that data is honest, even within a closed organization. So blockchain can be useful for an individual corporation. For our purposes, however, of being decentralized and having control of our own finances, Facebook Coin does not make any sense whatsoever. Here is the wrap-up from the Forbes article. Facebook's decision to embrace a blockchain-based digital currency will be a massive step in legitimizing the other half of the blockchain ecosystem. No doubt there will be a considerable difference between the likes of Bitcoin and Facebook's coin, but the hope that this experiment proves that when over 2 billion people are using cryptocurrencies, there is a niche it can fill. So again, this is not going to be a cryptocurrency. If you think Facebook coin is going to be a cryptocurrency, you're going to be disappointed. That's my prediction.
Absolutely. It's going to be a digital currency, and you can, use it essentially like PayPal, but being digital is not being crypto.
Yeah, it's not going to get you away from the banks, as MasterCard and Visa are investors. So, we got more coming up here on Free Talk Live. Let's get into some shocking copyright video game-related news. Come on. This is Free Talk Live. We're at Forkfest 2019 here on day number 2. Go to forkfest.party to learn more about the event. And also, we've done a lot of cryptocurrency talk here. And you know what? It's a good time to talk about it. Bitcoin's up. Today, Bitcoin over $8,400 US. So it's been the last few days. It's been a good last few months for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And if you're trying to reach the crypto market, or maybe you want to spread awareness of your crypto technology, you need to have a communications company that specializes in the field, leveraging 35 plus different brands, part of the Investor Brand Network, and more than 5,000 downstream distribution partners. Cryptocurrency Wire combines the power of specialization with mass market reach. With their help, you can start connecting with crypto-friendly journalists and more than 1.6 million followers. Their commitment is to get the most eyes possible on your big news while it's fresh. Domestic, international, they can reach 56 different countries and even provide translation services. Even if your company's an important, relevant newsmaker, you need someone that specializes in the crypto field to get your message heard. That's cryptocurrencywire.com, and we've even used them here at Free Talk Live. It's cryptocurrencywire.com. As we continue, here is the sun has been hidden temporarily. I expect it's going to come back. We're looking at the weather report here at Lancaster, New Hampshire's Rogers Campground. There's a little spot of rain clouds in the sky, but I think it'll pass over relatively soon, even if we do get a few drops here in a few moments. It's been a beautiful day here so far, and the weather's been much nicer than it was yesterday. So come on out and join us. Go to forkfest.party to learn more about what we're doing here with this decentralized libertarian camping event. It's Ian and Aria and Vincent here in the studio, and I said I had a video game-related story, but we can hold off on that because I know, Vincent, I'd mentioned something about you having a story, I think at the beginning of the show. It's about biological warfare. What does that mean? What's going on?
Oh, absolutely. And so it's not necessarily, this article isn't new. It talks about new developments, but this is the one thing that I've been, I don't want to say like dreading, versus the opposite of looking forward to about coming here is just the danger of ticks, right? Lyme disease is such a big issue. I know people who've been affected by Lyme disease.
By the way, I have a tick removing device with me, so if anybody gets one on them, I can take care of it. Take care of it. Yeah.
Very good to know. Very good to know. Yeah. And it's just, and it's sort of this disease sort of just appears out of nowhere, and I did some research into it. And this is from actually in this article. It's not from Zero Hedge. It's not from Natural News or InfoWars. It's from National Geographic.
Okay, that's a respectable publication.
Yeah, mainstream as they'd call it. And so it's buried in the article. The article is about new developments regarding Lyme disease. That there's a study that says it might be sexually transmitted.
Whoa.
But it goes to, what I thought the most important thing about the article, which
By the way, there's a town in New Hampshire called Lyme, New Hampshire.
And it's all, and so the article title is what
Sounds
is
like a wonderful place to live.
No, actually, I had buddies. It's very rich. You got to be rich to live there. I had some friends from high school who live there. Very sort of similar to this area.
I've heard it's a really rural place.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. It's So anyways, the title is "What is Lyme Disease? New Findings Deep in the Mystery. It's by Jarrett Leota. But going down, it goes. What I was surprised was it goes into some of what people would say the fringe or conspiracy, and it talks about the origin. One proposed origin of Lyme disease.
The government created it. I feel like I've heard that before.
Yeah, Plum Island.
Tell me more. I don't know
Absolutely.
what that is.
So, and they go into in the article. I just got it's difficult on my phone. I don't have my laptop. But so my understanding when I first looked into it, because it said Plum Island is.
And where is this?
It's off. Here we go. So one theory, this is from the article, compelling but controversial, about the sudden emergence of a disease, referring to Lyme disease, in Connecticut, blames the accidental release of infected ticks during experiments at Plum Island Animal Disease Center on Long Island Sound, about 8 miles south of Lyme, which is not Lyme, New
Connecticut.
Hampshire. Yeah, Lyme, Connecticut. Originally operated by the U.S. Army, then by the Department of Agriculture, and now by the Department of Homeland Security, the facility's official mandate is defense research relating to agricultural bioterrorism. A book by Michael Carroll called Lab 257 cites post-World War II experiments on Plum Island that involves using ticks as disease vectors for germ warfare.
Yeah, I mean, whether the book is true or not, just like with a fire, you can look at a map over time and, find out something's epicenter.
Exactly.
And Plum Island is the epicenter of the spread of Lyme disease.
Really?
Absolutely, and they don't let anyone fly over there. There was, I remember the Plum Island was in the news because at least I think it was the Kardashians were filming, their garbage reality series or something, and they wanted to fly. They were like flying their jet or whatever, and they were getting too close to Plum Island, and the government told them to back off, and it was on camera. So that's how a decent amount of people heard about that. And me, I just looked it up. I heard of the theory probably on some talk radio someplace, and I just think it's just gone. I think it's a good sign that theory is being discussed on National Geographic, because I think people's got to realize that not everything is just like it's like an accident, right? Like all sorts of terrible things happen, and the people want to cover it up, say it's an accident. But it's important to. It's always an accident, but I think it's important to keep an open mind and think that.
So the idea is the government on Plum Island infected ticks with Lyme disease?
Well, no, that they invented Lyme disease. That it was the Lyme disease is part of a biological warfare to use against livestock or maybe even people, and that it either was.
And then the tick contracted it on accident, basically?
No, they were using ticks as the test subjects, essentially.
I see.
And that it was either accidentally released or it was purposefully released just to, for what, who knows? And I mean, I just think it's
see
like,
what happens.
And yeah, and I mean, I think it's what I was trying to say earlier was this is an instance where there's just so much, like, they call it circumstantial evidence, but there's just so much, and it's like what Aria said about the epicenter and everything, that I'm glad finally National Geographic and, so-called mainstream sources are finally, looking at it and at least addressing it, right? Because so many times there'd be regarding to the JFK or 9/11, they would, there'd be alternative theories into what the government said, and they just immediately say, you know what, the government didn't say that, they deny all the allegations, so we're not going to talk about it as conspiracy theory.
Okay.
In this case, we're not doing that.
Let's say it comes out. Let's say some files get released.
John McAfee releases the...
Right, McAfee's got his 31 terabytes, and in there it says that Plum Island government facility released Lyme disease. They created this. And it was absolutely the federal government's fault. Okay, now what?
Burn it.
Burn the facility?
I meant the government, but yeah, sure, burn the facility too.
Well, my one reservation about that is that the facility might then be used to come up with a cure for it, because other parts of the article that it's a very long article go in, and that a lot of people aren't happy with the progress being made regarding research into Lyme disease and treatment, because at least for me it seems like a new thing. I remember going out into the woods all the time, and when my father was a boy going out into the woods, and you never had to worry about Lyme disease, and then now you get a tick, you don't notice it, you have a red ring, and then you're a vegetable the next few months later. It's absolutely
it's a scary
horrifying
thing for sure, and it does seem to be worse in New England, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Where I'm from, we knew about the threat of Lyme disease and things like that, but you never
heard about it.
No, I spent plenty of time playing in the woods, and I don't know anyone who ever contracted Lyme disease.
So, if this information comes out, and it's confirmed, like it's no longer a theory, it's no longer circumstantial, it's 100% guaranteed the U.S. government was behind Lyme disease. Obviously, nobody's going to burn down the government, right? Like, that's not going to happen. So what do you do?
When I say burn down, I don't mean kill anyone.
All right, well, hold on. Let's talk more about it coming up here in moments. 855-450 free. You can join us. Oh, wait, did I just give out the phone number? You can't call that number. I'm so used to it. We're here on the campground, so you got to join us in real life. Forkfest. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. It's Free Talk Live. We're at Forkfest 2019. You can go to forkfest.party to learn more about the event. And, of course, if you want to support what we do here on Free Talk Live, please join the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. If you support what we do, the best way to support us, besides listening, which we certainly appreciate, and sharing us on your favorite social media sites, which is also appreciated, is to join the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote, and the idea is it's $5 a month that you can use PayPal, you can use credit cards, or you can use Bitcoin BTC to join. No, we're not taking Facebook coin, and I don't expect that we will. But amp.freetalklive.com. You can help us get on more radio stations. We've got over 200 great stations that air the show at various times throughout the week. And we can hit 300. It is possible, but we do need your help in order to do it. So please go to amp.freetalklive.com. You'll get some cool perks. And you can join longtime amplifiers like Nathan Dunk, who is an amplifier who's a platinum. He's giving $25 per month to Free Talk Live. Oh, God, I think he sent me an email saying how to pronounce his name. I think it might be actually Dank. Either way, Nathan, thank you. I remember the email, and I apologize for maybe botching your name. But you know what? We're not perfect here at Free Talk Live, and nobody has ever claimed to be. But we definitely appreciate people supporting our show through the AMP program, and you get some cool perks and benefits as well by doing it over at amp.freetalklive.com. It's amp.freetalklive.com. As we continue here talking about Lyme disease, possibly, according to a National Geographic story, Vincent, that you were bringing up.
This is one possible theory.
What were the other ones? Do you recall?
He magically appeared out of nowhere one day.
Oh, well, yeah. Evolution, yeah.
And
but I just want to answer you. We were talking about before about if let's say it's totally proven the documents get leaked, and whether or not the government or the facility will catch fire. But I mean, I think if it does, nothing's going to happen, because just you've had in the past all sorts of leaks came out where the government was, like Operation Northwoods comes to mind. Operation Northwoods was a proposed plan. It was an official plan. Usually Wikipedia is a spin machine, and it covers up for all sorts of government corruption. They say it's verified. It was a proposed plan to create a bunch of false flag attacks on American soil, to including blowing up airliners, civilians, to get the United States into war with Cuba. So
right,
and so the own government is had a plan to fake terror attacks to get the nation into a war. That's been declassified. People know, you could just go on the internet and find out. And the same government that planned that is the same government we have today. Nothing happened.
That was kind of the thing I was leading to, is no matter what shocking information comes out about the government here, we have the tents being blown to pieces
the peace
here.
Flag.
So no matter what shocking information comes out about things that the U.S. government does, people just keep on going about their business, and
they prefer comfort over the unknown.
Right.
And the idea of abolishing it is
the unknown.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why libertarianism, or voluntarism doesn't catch fire, because of that fear that people have. We're working against fear, and humans are motivated by pleasure, and humans are motivated by fear, right? And fear is a particularly motivating thing. It will stop someone dead in their tracks from doing something that they might want to do. Like, somebody might like the idea of being free, but on the other hand, it's kind of scary.
Well, governments killed 300 million people in the 20th century, somewhere around that.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't matter how deadly anarchism could potentially be. Even in their worst fever dream, we're not going to rack up a body count anywhere near that.
That's
without
true.
a state. But it doesn't matter.
That's a logical thing to say, but logic doesn't necessarily, eliminate
because it's
fear.
a great big question mark for them. They don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen under an anarchic society.
Sure.
But I have reason to believe that it would be largely peaceful, certainly more peaceful than what we have today, where we have to use applications and things like that in order to avoid these thugs that are out on the streets attempting to kidnap and harass people.
Mm-hmm. You mean the police?
I do.
Yeah.
I just want to say, like, one line of thinking I've been subscribing to is we already live in it's like an anarcho-tyranny, except, when people talk about anarchy, they say, oh, well, instead of a government, you're going to have warlords. Well, we have warlords who call themselves the government, so it's not really much of a change, I imagine, compared to Mad Max.
Yeah, well, that's the point people miss with Mad Max and the Road Warrior, is that it's probably the most anarchic thing ever written. The gangs of Mad Max are states. It is states fighting against one another, waging war on a much smaller scale.
Well, right. I mean,
but we already live in the world of Mad Max.
That's the point that the Christian anarchist has made more than once, and I think he's very, prescient to make it when he's called the show, a regular caller of ours, pointing out that we're living in anarchy. Just the gang is so large and so effective. Like, we know the government's ineffective at most everything it does, but one thing it's done very effectively is stay in control, is be the most successful criminal gang in a given geographic area. And I'm not just talking about the U.S. government. I mean the Russian government or the fill-in-the-blank government, whatever their territory is. They're the most successful criminal gang. They're so successful that they've managed to convince people that there's something else. They're running the schools. They're running the schools.
Yeah.
They'll give you a check.
Terribly, but they are running them.
Exactly. Well, part of the important part of running the schools is they get to tell you history. They get to tell you propaganda, whatever it is they want you to believe. And so that's one of the reasons why they're so entrenched, is because they've literally given everyone a brainwashing as part of their so-called education. And so, trying to undo that is a lifelong process. And that's, it's a slow thing. And I know that's frustrating to some people, like our co-host Mark Edge, who this week was bellyaching about the liberty movement on the air while he was on with Rich Paul on an earlier show this week. Talking about how he wants to move somewhere else, and that the migration project here has been a failure, and all this stuff. And
look, Ian, there's no freedom here. We got to go to Eastern Europe. That's where the freedom is. Right? Yeah, sure, you can't own drugs or you'll be executed, but
right.
There's not too many police officers per capita per mile.
You're bringing up this idea that Mark had recently to move to a place called Abkhazia.
I'm never going to let him live that down.
Yeah. He's always got some sort of project of the moment where he believes that he can actually pay a government to leave him alone.
Well, I mean, we do every single day. That's what taxation is. That's
they keep
what
coming
fines
back
are.
for more.
Yeah, it's not permanent.
But
no.
These people, Mark
it's a protection
believes,
fee. It's a racket.
Right, but Mark believes he can pay some arbitrary amount and that they'll leave him alone. For good.
Why does he believe this?
I don't know. I really don't know. And
I don't think governments tend to leave people alone.
No, they don't, especially
ever.
if you show them you've got money and you're willing to give it to them, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, you can pay us that. We'll give you that land. Sure, free and clear. No problem. Here, we'll just go 10 million. Now let make it 20 million. Okay, cool. Thanks. Now it's your land. Then, 10 years later, they come back.
Has Mark ever met a Native American? Because
right.
I think they could enlighten him about how this tends to play out.
Yeah. I just don't buy it for a moment. Now, he does bring up an example of, what is it? There's some sort of, like Milan, or there's some city that starts with an M that's like a city-state or something that apparently did buy their supposed sovereignty or whatever.
There's
from
Christiania or something like that as well.
Country. So he has some sort of a success story that he points to, but yet he doesn't want to go live there. So obviously, it didn't work out. So I don't know. I'm not saying they shouldn't try it. By all means. I mean, maybe we can be proven wrong. Maybe there is some island government or whatever somewhere in the world that's willing to honor their agreement and take a one-time bribe in order to never come back, in order to leave you alone. But until I see it happening for a couple of decades, I'm not going to believe that it's possible.
And it's like a government in none of its right mind, if one could say they have one, would let any group of people do that, because at least in the past when the Romans would let some of the German barbarians settle, they'd say, okay, do you do this service for us? Fight in our wars, and we'll give you this territory, and you'll leave us alone, right? And no, you see how that ended.
Sure,
so
buddy.
That's why, exactly. That's why we have, they say Anglo-Saxon, England, because the local Britons, the Celts, they invited the Anglo-Saxons into Britain to fight for them, and the Anglo-Saxons, they loved it so much they decided to stay.
We got more coming up here in moments. The final segment is next of this second edition of Free Talk Live from Forkfest. Forkfest.party is our website, or their website, or someone's website. Hey, it's Free Talk Live. We're at Forkfest 2019 in the final segment of the second episode of what will be a 5-episode series from the third edition of Forkfest, the decentralized camping festival that is definitely picking up today. There's some people setting up their campsites. We got the folks from anypay.global. They're now apparently going to be working in the rain because it is raining out right now down there, working to set up that monstrous geodesic dome
I actually
tent.
don't think they're there. I
Really?
think they went to buy a larger ladder.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering how they were going to get up to the top of that thing. But they're going to be working all day putting that together. Hopefully it'll be together by tonight. If not, it'll probably be in effect tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, Monday nights. There's going to be parties in there. They had planned one for tonight, but I think that they didn't know how long it was going to take to put the thing together. But folks are down there helping them out. Jay Noon is in the house as well, our Wednesday night co-host. He's going to be putting together Man Camp. So a lot of this stuff isn't really kicking off until Saturday and Sunday. The weekend on Forkfest tends to be the bigger time at Forkfest. So we're still here in like the early portion of this event. It's a decentralized event. There's nobody here that's organizing Forkfest saying, okay, vendors, you need to be here by this time. You need to be, because have you ever done like a vending booth at a county fair or something like that?
Not directly.
So if you've ever set like a booth up at one of these places, they usually give you a list of rules, and they and these aren't the rules by the campground. They're the rules by, say, the Porcupine Freedom Festival or the county fair, or whatever it is we're talking about. So they give you a list of the event's rules, and usually one of the rules is you have to have everything set up by like 9 in the morning on day number 1.
Yeah, screw that.
And that's understandable because they want to have their event running from the entire time. They want to have everybody who's going to be vending there the whole time. Well, here, there's nobody in charge saying come here at a certain time. So if one vendor wants to show up on Saturday and set up on Saturday, they can set up on Saturday. If somebody wants to show up on day number 1, if somebody wanted to show up a day early before Forkfest started, they could do that. There's nobody here to tell them they can't. There's nobody who's going to kick them out if they show up late, because there's no such thing as showing up late. And we just kind of, let the chips fall where they may and let the market decide, what sort of services are available. If nobody's cooking food, then I guess you got to go into town or bring your own. But luckily we are seeing more people cooking this year. We already have at least one booth set up that I saw earlier today. And that, from what you said, Vincent, is going to be going late into the night tonight. Because last year there was no one selling after like noon, basically.
Yeah, I'm going there as soon as we finish this.
You hungry?
Starving.
Yeah. It's going to be good. I had the biscuits and gravy earlier, so just having one person serving makes a huge difference, and it's going to make a difference on that person's wallet too, because they're the only one serving, so they get all the business as soon as the word gets around that they exist. And getting the news out that something's happening is relatively easy. You just make a post on the Telegram chat room.
Yeah.
You can make a post on the forum. That's not as busy. The forum's there, but it's not as active as the Telegram chat. You can link over to all those things over at forkfest.party. And if you can't make it up this year, then mark your calendar generally for the end of June for 2020. We don't know the exact dates because as of right now, Forkfest is still sort of tied to the Porcupine Freedom Festival. Like it came from the Porcupine Freedom Festival, but we have it at a time at which is related to the Porcupine Freedom Festival. So right now it's happening the 5 days before the Porcupine Freedom Festival, which is a different festival that you have to pay to attend, and there's tickets and all that. And next year it is going to move to afterwards. By the way, the rain has moved in this afternoon. It is coming down now. We've had to bring the tent down a little bit, so it's putting a bit of a dampener on the party here. People are still, to their credit, they're still hanging out outside of the tent in the rain. Jazzy's got the right idea. The studio bee, she's sitting here next to me. She's like, all right, that's enough. She likes hanging out with people, but likes the rain even less. So folks are grabbing their chairs, they're bailing. Hey, thanks for hanging out, guys. Thanks for coming by the campsite. Understandably, we don't have, unfortunately, a lot of tent space. There's maybe room for a couple of chairs. If you want to stay here, you're welcome to. Grab a chair, set it up, hop on the bench, whatever. We do basically, for listeners that don't know, we've got like a 10 by 10 tent here. It's covered, thank goodness, this year, because if it weren't covered right now, there would be drips coming down on this equipment, and we'd have to just...
Yeah, we can't have that.
We'd have to stop. So that's the nice thing, is we can actually broadcast from the middle of a rainstorm. Now, one thing we don't have is we don't have the sides. So, like, these tents, they sell, the Easy Up brand, they sell sides to the tents that you can kind of hang up and then have total protection from wind and rain coming in from that particular side. We do have some tarps, so if necessary, we can always hang a tarp and kind of cut down on the rain that's, like, coming in from the side. But right now, it doesn't seem to be coming in at too bad of an angle. I see your purse there on the edge of the table. We got a picnic table underneath here, and it doesn't seem like it's getting wet right now, Aria, and looks like we're safe over here on this side. So we're good to go. If we were just starting our broadcast, we could do a full show like we did yesterday in the rain the entire time. But luckily, we're almost done with this particular episode of Free Talk Live. And then we get to hang out for the rest of the night, which is one of the things I love to do here now. In the old days, when we were... Ooh, yeah, it is now actually coming in pretty good. In fact, if you want, Aria, there's a tarp in that bin right next to it. If you want to grab that tarp out and then just sort of hang it up on, if you can, I'd appreciate it. And luckily, we do have some wonderful listeners that are here and able to help us out. Just to, kind of stuff it in there or whatever. We can tie it down if necessary after the fact, if it's even possible. It may not even be possible. So these are the adventures of being here on a campground and dealing with completely unpredictable weather. Well, Vincent, here you are on day number 2. What do you have to say? Any observations?
Yeah, it's a momentum, right? There's been more people here today than there was yesterday.
This is true. Have you met new people?
Have I met? Oh yeah, definitely. Yep, became acquainted with new people. Yes.
Anything else you want to say?
No, not.
You seem pretty burned out. You've been up all day. You've been up since 5 in the morning.
It was rough getting used to. Most people are used to like sleeping on a level surface, right? A mattress. Me,
yeah.
I set up my tent on a hill, so the water will drip down. So it's difficult sleeping. Like you feel like you're upside down, but you're not. It's very discombobulating.
I love being here. I love the people. I love the location. The view is incredible. You woke up this morning, could see the mountains of the White Mountains, and they almost always have like misty clouds kind of hovering over the tops of them. The temperature, of course, is dropping now that we've got the rain coming in here. But the day so far, and it's, by the way, right now when we're recording this, it's about 3:30 in the afternoon here at Rogers Campground in Lancaster, New Hampshire. Up until now, it's been sunny. It's been nice out all day long, and this may be a temporary rainstorm. So, like, probably as soon as we finish recording the segment, it'll stop. But you never know. You really don't. It's part of the fun of being up here. And bring some warm clothes. If you think, oh, it's summertime, no, it's still springtime. It still can be a little bit cold, especially in northern New Hampshire. If you're planning on coming up, you're definitely going to want to have a raincoat, because if you've got a hoodie and it's raining, it's going to get wet. So you probably want to have a raincoat or something like that and some warm clothes. Bring some shoes and socks. I like being in sandals, but if it's you're going to be walking through cold water and all that, so do the necessary precautions, or you're going to end up driving around town trying to buy some stuff that you didn't have before. So let's see. What else do you need to know? Oh, Forkfest.party is the website. That's where you can go. We've got more stuff to talk about. We've got more people to talk to. We're definitely going to get the boys from AnyPay in here at some point. I don't know who else we're going to have in. We just kind of wing it. There's not any special fancy, guest speakers. This isn't like Freedom Fest, which we're going to in July with all the big-name speakers with, Penn Jillette and John Stossel is going to be there, and Glenn Beck. all these...
It's a bunch of has-beens so far. I mean,
John Stossel's not a has-been. What are you talking about?
I know. What's he been doing recently? I haven't heard him.
He's on the internet. He's got his own show.
Oh, I'm on the internet.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Mark's on the internet.
He's probably got a lot more viewers than you and I combined, I would guess. He's on Reason.tv.
Oh, yeah. So, Fox to Reason. Oh.
Well, actually, he was on ABC's 2020 way back in the day.
Yeah, ABC. Now Fox is a step up from ABC.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think Fox has more viewers than ABC 2020?
I mean, I don't know exactly about ABC 2020. I'm just in regards to like today, right, regarding viewers, CNN, MSNBC is being beaten by Fox, which, is pretty sad to say because, or at least the late night programs, because, Fox's demographic is literally dying, right? The average.
That's true. Well, that's true of all television. In fact, I have a news story in my show prep that there's a cable company, I think it was in Montana, relatively small, small town cable company, but they are now turning off cable TV services. They are only going to offer internet and phone services at this cable company, and I think that's a sign of things to come. I think you're going to see more cable companies just deciding to call it quits on offering television service. It's just going to be not worth doing anymore. Anyway, we think this is worth doing, so we're going to do more all weekend long. Join us for more Forkfest coverage here from Forkfest 2019. Go to forkfest.party to learn more about the event. This is Free Talk Live, and we'll see you tomorrow.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.